don't. You're not selling anything.
The Fed's not done, and I'm going to tell you why.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Sean's show. It's episode 54. I just realized I've been doing this for over a year. 52. I didn't even do. That's how oblivious I am to the passage of time. Is I did a whole year of this show, 52 episodes. And I didn't even do like a celebration. I didn't do anything to commemorate it. And here we are in 54. And I still, I'm just now, we've been doing it for over a year. A whole year of the worst free content you've ever listened to. No, it's great. It's great. There's a lot of, I hope you're having a good week. There's no end in sight for this shit, guys. We're going to keep rolling. We're going to keep on talking shit. So thanks. I hope you're having a good week, whatever you're doing, whether you're on a yacht with a bunch of prostitutes or whether you're flipping burgers at a Sonic or whether you're, stealing copper from a industrial manufacturing facility to fund a meth habit and you're on your last legs and my laptop just fell. No matter what you're doing, I hope you're doing it well, because that is fundamentally what sets you apart from the rest of the pack. Is, do you do things well? And who's not doing things very well? One of my favorite companies, Waymo. Do you know Waymo? They do driverless. They're working on driverless cars. ADAS systems. If you don't know, ADAS is autonomous driving, autonomous system, whatever the fuck, all these bullshit acronyms. Waymo not doing very well. Let's jump right in. This is a crazy story that I want to start with because it's sort of emblematic of the way that technology is progressing and a lot of the unintended consequences of technology accelerating are here. It's not like, again, like it's not like I think people watch movies about dystopia, technology dystopias. They watch like Ex Machina and they think that, oh, wouldn't that be crazy if life was like that? Wouldn't it be crazy if that future were to happen? Like, that's the way that I think the lens through which people watch these movies. But that's fucking here, dude. Like, it's here. Like, Ex Machina is here. Honestly, Ex Machina is a movie about the fucking past. We live in a world that's worse than that. You know how cool it would be to be murdered by a beautiful AI bitch? Like, that would be so fucking cool. We're not going to be murdered by beautiful, emo, big titty goth AI robots, that are in love with us, but also want to stab us in the back. Like, that is too good for humanity. Like, the world is stranger than fiction. The world is stranger than that. We're going to be killed by some sort of amorphous corporate government blob of fucking data. We're gonna get killed by data. I mean, that's the reality. Ex Machina is a good outcome at this point, guys. But let me take a look at the story. So it seems like self-driving cars are here. It seems like they're approaching fast. I mean, I don't know where you live, but if you live in Phoenix, if you live in San Francisco, these are cities where self-driving cars are being deployed and are commercialized. I mean, I believe we're at the point where you can actually hail a car and it will show up and no one's inside and you can take it around. But there's a story I want to go over that's interesting. So Waymo has a parking lot where it sort of stores all the cars at night when they're not being used, at the, like, in the middle of the night when none of the cars are being used. And there's a lot of unintended consequences from this shit that I think is kind of funny. So here's a story. honks and beeps, but no one to yell at. Waymo's driverless cars wake up neighbors. So imagine so this is a lady, she lives near like the Waymo parking lot, and all the cars are programmed to honk like when there's other cars nearby. So what happened was you had like a shitload of these Waymo cars parked next to each other, and they're all honking, even though they're not on. They're like parked. Or maybe they're idling, but they're all like next to each other, and they're like honking up a fucking storm in a neighborhood. And these are not cheap built. Like, this is in San Francisco. These are next to like $1 million homes, and you're getting like, a ton of these cars just honking up a storm in the middle of the night and waking people up. So again, this is not that big. It's not like anyone got, like, I love how I set this up. Like everyone, I was going to set this up like people got killed. No one got killed, but like, I want to highlight this because this is what Silicon Valley does, guys. Silicon Valley, what they do is they design a product. They think that a car is like an app. Like they take the philosophy of like putting out a product that's not even built yet, and like building it as you fly it, like you're building the plane as you fly it. Like that works for Facebook because Facebook isn't going to kill people. Well, in a way, Facebook kills people sometimes, with the fucking January 6th news, whatever. An app isn't going to kill people most of the time. But when you apply that same philosophy to like hardware, we're talking cars, medical devices, fucking, I don't know, buildings, smart home, whatever you want to, whatever, many different industries. When you put stuff out that's not done because you want to get a higher return on investment for your venture capital, that's fine. But normal people get fucked in the process. And this is sort of a funnier example where you have a bunch of Waymo cars honking in the middle of a parking lot, waking up the whole neighborhood. And then they go and then they fix it and they're like, oh, we're sorry. Like, fuck you. I'd fucking sue. If I was woken up by a Waymo vehicle, I'm fucking suing Google. And that's the other thing is like, and again, this is all going to connect. But again, guys, Waymo is owned by Google. People don't know. And people, you know what pisses me off? People shit on me for asking who owns that. Like it's some sort of privileged white person thing to ask. I'm just asking questions because I'm looking out for all of us, guys. I want to know. Who owns that is not like a question to be like, oh, I want to invest. Like I'm not fucking, guys, 4 people listen to this show. Believe me, I'm not in a position to invest in these private companies. I'm asking that because that will tell us about the incentives of these companies. So a lot, and maybe if you listen to the show, you're into this stuff, and maybe you know that Google owns Waymo. But the average person, they don't give a fuck. They don't understand this shit, and they don't care to understand, because if they did understand, it would scare them. It should scare you that Google owns Waymo. Remember Google, the search company, the company that has a search engine? That's their business. They own an autonomous vehicle company. Those things are so fundamentally different, and they're owned by the same company. And that should really, really be a red flag. And it's just evidence of how fucked our economy is getting. It's fucking crazy. It's an 8-headed Leviathan dragon lizard monster. But we'll get more on that later on. But let me read you an excerpt from this. A Waymo spokesperson said in an email that the company had recently introduced the honking feature to help avoid collisions when vehicles get too close. Here's a quote. It has been working great in the city, but we didn't quite anticipate it would happen so often in our own parking lots. We've updated the software so our electric vehicles should keep the noise down for our neighbors moving forward. See how fucking bullshit and fucking like soft and like cutesy they make it? Like, ooh, oopsies. Sorry about the honking. It's like, no, like an apology is not enough. That's what Silicon Valley does, is they put something out there that like is annoying as fuck and inconveniences people. Here's the Silicon Valley playbook in a nutshell. They ram a new technology down our throats and eliminate all of the old alternatives that worked fine, like Uber and taxis. They ram a new technology down our throats to force us to use it. And then but they deploy it before it's even ready. So they've deployed it and they ram it down our throats and say, this is the only option that you have. This is the main option. For many reasons, we're going to make this the main option, okay? Where it's overfunded, we're going to make it cheaper, artificially cheap for the time being. And then when all the other options fail or go out of business because they can't compete with like an artificially low pricing, because Uber is, gets hundreds of millions of dollars of venture capital. This is a comedy show, guys, but stay with me. The next step is you realize the product is fucked and it's not done yet, and there's all these issues. And then they go up and then they apologize. And they think that apologizing is enough. Apologizing is not enough. When your shit fucks up, there should be a fucking lawsuit. You should be sued into oblivion. That's what the fuck should happen. You know what I mean? Like, oopsies. Like they try to play, like that's what like Theranos should be the outcome of every software company that fucks up. You know what I mean? Like Theranos is what should happen. Like Theranos, they have all these, they like, if you don't know, Theranos was started by Bad Bitch and Hottie and wrongfully convicted Elizabeth Holmes, ex-CEO of Theranos, put out a little thing that read your blood and give you like false measurements about your blood, and it killed some people. And like they failed. That company failed. That is such a rarity. There's so many other companies that do worse things than what Theranos did and get away with it. Waymo's killed people. Waymo is but people can't make the connection for some reason. Waymo, but they get away with it because they have Harvard lawyers that preempt lawsuits. Like, let me look up Waymo death. I guarantee you. Check this out. Federal investigation into 8 incidents involving Waymo driverless cars in Phoenix and Chandler. So Waymo has killed more people than Theranos, but somehow Waymo is allowed to operate. Waymo should be sued into oblivion and the fucking CEO should be in jail, just like Theranos. But you want to know why Waymo still operates? Because they're exempt, they're above the law. And they're owned by Google, and they have enough money to defend against these lawsuits. I mean, this shit is fucking insane. Check this out. They're testing the software, and our lives are they're using our lives as a testing ground for these vehicles. And like, oh, we'll get it right later on. No. Get it right before you even deploy them on the road, motherfucker. According to the records reviewed by Arizona's Family Investigates, all the Arizona incidents involve vehicles striking objects on the road or in parking lots. Of the 22 incidents in total, only 2 resulted in injuries. Oh, only 2. That's good. I'm glad it was only two injuries. Yeah, I mean, it's coming. It's like there's no choice. So it's 8 incidents. I'm sorry, not 8 deaths, 2 injuries. But it's still like it's just the way that they're doing it and their approach to it is just, it should make you mad. It makes me mad. It makes me mad. Do I, am I going to use driverless cars eventually? Of course I will. But I don't know, man. It's a brave new world, dude. That's my point I'm trying to get across. Let's zoom out a little bit. So we were talking about last week about the antitrust legislation that might hit Google. This is crazy. Like if this happens, it could really. I'm excited because I'm literally about like. My brain is so broken. If Google gets broken up by the government, I literally will jizz my pants. Like I literally will like have an orgasm. That's how much tension. Like the anger and the anger and the tension that I have towards Google getting broken up by the government. It's become sexual. Like it's become that intense. But this could be crazy, guys. So take a look at this. The U.S. considers a rare antitrust move, breaking up Google, which again owns Waymo. So let's take a look at this. A bid to break up Alphabet Inc.'s Google is one of the many options being considered by the Justice Department after a landmark court ruling found that the company monopolized the online search market, according to people with knowledge of the deliberations. So this could be fucking huge, man. And this is the exact reason you need to even type in Reddit after every time I do a Google search, I type in Reddit. I have to type in Reddit to get any sort of like useful information, or else I'm getting like I'm drowning in fucking ads and bullshit AI summaries. I don't want to hear like I type shit into Google and you get a bullshit AI Gemini summary. Like, and again, another example of how Silicon Valley tests shit out before it's ready. Waymo, they deploy these cars on the road, and if we die, we die. Sorry, you just died. Sorry, the AI wasn't good enough. Sorry, you died. And that's their response to like killing people with these autonomous cars. Google's AI Gemini thing, oh, they're testing it. But like you can't have it both ways, Google. You can't deploy an AI summary in Google search and say that you're testing it and that we're still working on it, okay? You can't say that out of one corner of your mouth, and out of the other corner of your mouth, you're saying that like, oh, this is a trusted source of information for whatever you're talking about. Guys, remember, AI, I don't know if you follow any of this shit. When you talk to ChatGPT, many times it's still wrong. Many times AI is still wrong. It gets it wrong. It gets basic shit wrong. But now all of a sudden, we're supposed to trust these LLMs to like give us accurate information about our search results. And we're supposed to trust it. So they're still testing it, and there's still things to be done, and it's not perfect. But also at the same time, we're supposed to trust it from Google. That's what they're saying. Let's take a look. The Justice Department attorneys who have been consulting with companies affected by Google's practices have raised concerns in their discussions that the company's search dominance gives it advantages in developing AI technology. As part of a remedy, the government might seek to stop the company from forcing websites to allow their content to be used for some of Google's AI products in order to appear in search results. So it's rules for thee and not for me is what it is. It's you know, and it's more of the same. I mean, the Standard Oil was broken up because it was this massive company that controlled the oil markets and was extremely anti-competitive and literally just doing criminal shit. And they got broken up. And Google is doing the same thing. People always say data is the new oil. And what's happening here is Google is the new Standard Oil. Google is standard data. Sometimes they say smart shit. Standard Oil dominated the oil industry and caused billions of dollars they gouged consumers for billions of dollars because they were a monopoly and they could set the price because they would push out any competitors that tried to make a better market for consumers. That's what Standard Oil did. Google is standard data. They dominate the search market and they leverage their size to fuck us. Like Google is like fucking you in the ass. Google is using their tendrils, their tentacles, and it's like a hentai horror. Google's fucking all of us in the ass with their tentacles. That's what's like, you should be mad. That's what's going on. Oh, and by the way, they're developing autonomous cars that kill people. I mean, you know, on the one hand, I'm like kind of like impressed with Google, and I'm impressed with Sundar Pichai that he's been able to, and the founders of Google. People like say, I want people to say the names of these fucking bastards. You know what I mean? Google founders. I want you to say the names. Sergey Brin, Larry Page, Sundar Pichai. These are the real people that have ruined your life. People think Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are ruining your life. No, they're just, to me, you know, politicians are, they love power and they don't wield any real authority. It's a reality show. The real people who dictate your life in the 21st century are the creators of the multinational technology corporations. Larry Page, Sundar Pichai, whoever runs, Bill Gates. These are the guys that I think really have vast amounts of control over you in ways that you can't even possibly imagine. The Chipotle CEO, these are people, guys, you don't even realize it. The Chipotle CEO has been reducing the size of the burrito bowl 10% every year, right before your eyes, and you do nothing. And you don't, and there's no outrage. Where's the out? I'm like talking about all this like really grand shit. I'm like, guys, Google's controlling your data. They're controlling your mind. They're gonna, 10 years from now, we're all gonna be hooked up to fucking semiconductor chips in our brains, and they're gonna be advertising in our minds, and we're not even gonna be able to control our own thoughts. And also, the burrito bowls are getting smaller. That's kind of how I'm drinking coffee, guys. I'm back on my coffee grind. Those are the two most important things that I want you to take away from this week's episode is that, number one, Google is a monopoly that has destroyed and gouged billions of dollars from the consumer and leveraged its size to rob us of innovation and rob us of new products that we should have had decades ago because Sundar Pichai and Larry Page want another yacht. That's number one. And number two, more importantly, the burrito bowls are getting smaller, and the scoop sizes of the beans into the bowl is getting smaller. And there's a whole there's a conspiracy. There's memos. I've seen the memos, people. I've seen the memos, folks. The Chipotle internal memos about reducing the amount of steak in the burrito bowl. They're real, and I will share them with you. I have a guy on the inside, and also Google is gonna kill you someday. More importantly, though, the burrito bowls are getting smaller. But I don't know. So we'll see. The DOJ is considering breaking up Google. Again, I don't know if this actually happens. I really hope it does. But all we can do is just cross our fingers, guys. Speaking of Chipotle just got a new CEO. Oh, sorry. This lost a CEO. So this is actually really big news. The CEO of Chipotle has quit. He's gone. And he just became he got poached by Starbucks. So the new Starbucks CEO is the ex-CEO of Chipotle. And this to me is very, I might buy some Starbucks stock, guys. Like I might get into Starbucks now, because think about it, guys. If this guy who's now the Starbucks CEO he ran Chipotle for God knows how long. He brings decades of experience in figuring out how to sell a product to the consumer that is 99% bean water. Like that's what like the CEO of Chipotle, what he's done so effectively is he's convinced the public into thinking that Chipotle's products are burrito bowls, chips, salsa, guacamole, when in reality, the product that Chipotle is selling you, and the reason they're so profitable, is because the actual product that Chipotle sells is 99.99% bean water. That is so cheap. And that's why their margins are so high at Chipotle. And so Starbucks was very smart to poach this guy, because now the Chipotle CEO is at Starbucks, and Starbucks product is all bean water. It's hot bean water. Are you making, am I waking you guys up to this connection here? People are getting mad because Chipotle is fucking over consumers with smaller portions. Now the guy is at Starbucks and it's game over. He's literally just going to be able to sell hot bean water all day long and no one's going to get mad. I mean, this is huge news for Starbucks. Very bad news for Chipotle. But let's dive a little deeper. So here's a quote. We look forward to continuing our engagement with the board as it works towards the realization of Starbucks' full potential, the firm said. Elliott said it was now one of the chain's largest shareholders and has been engaged with Starbucks board for around 2 months. Okay, so this is actually interesting. I didn't know this. So remember, guys, a little finance lesson. Remember how I talked about how Elliott Management was buying stock in Southwest? So, and I'm just discovering this now with you. Apparently, Elliott has also built a stake in Starbucks. So this is interesting. Elliott, this is interesting. So Elliott was sort of circling the waters with not only Southwest to get on their board and make changes to the company. I guess they're also at Starbucks too, which is very, very interesting. Which actually may be the impetus for poaching the Chipotle CEO. We really don't know, but let's take a look a little closer here. Here's an interesting stat. The median tenure for departing CEOs of companies in the S&P 500 is around 8 years, according to data from the conference board and data analytics firm SES Gauge. So this is interesting. So the median time that a CEO spends at one particular company in the S&P 500 is 8 years. And according to this data firm, the reason why they leave statistically 95% of the time is because they fuck a secretary. So that's interesting. That I thought it was lower than that, but I guess every time around 8 years, that does make sense. So like a CEO will get hired, for a big S&P 500 company, a big Fortune 500 company, and they last 8 years, plus or minus. And the reason they leave is because they blow their load all over the CFO's face. So I guess that's I don't know. That's just an interesting data point. But maybe the Chipotle CEO, was at Chipotle in the boardroom blowing out his executive assistant's back and giving her a good pounding. And I guess Starbucks was like, hey, we like you. We like that attitude. We could use that leadership here at Starbucks. What do you say? And he was like, I'm going to need this new job because, abortions aren't cheap. So we will see. We'll see where that goes, guys. Let's take. I kind of want to see how Starbucks stock is reacting to this. Let's just take a quick look. They're down today. Huge pop, guys. So Starbucks poached the Chipotle CEO, and their stock went up 22%. So it's very interesting. A lot of shakeups. A lot of shakeups in the stock market. Chipotle, on the other hand, is down 8%. So we'll see how that evolves. But that's I want to make sure we get to all the news this week, guys. So let's take a look here. I got a lot of questions. Actually, I got a lot of questions this week. So let's go on to the week's questions. If you don't know, if you're a new listener, I have a Facebook group. It's called facebook.com/groups/Sean's Show. If you join, I will answer your question. And every time you ask a question, I will pay you $5 American. I'm not talking Namibian dollars. I'm not talking euros. I'm not talking francs. Guys, I will give you $5 American. That's like half of a cup of coffee at Starbucks these days. That's pretty fucking good. So if you join, you know, every time someone joins the Facebook group, I get very excited. So just go ahead and join because it's a lot of fun and I want to connect with you guys. But let's get to your questions this week. We're going to start with Gary. Gary, I love you. Thanks for asking questions. Your question, Gary asks, fuck, marry, kill, but it's the current presidential candidates. Excuse me. Fuck, marry, kill, but it's the current presidential running candidates and their VPs. The VPs going along with the candidate, no splitting them up. Okay, so are we talking like, okay. All right, Gary, that's a question. This is a $5. This is a $10. Gary, this is a $10 question. Make sure to Venmo request me. Fuck, marry, kill, but it's the presidential candidates and their VPs, with the VPs going along with the candidate, no splitting them up. So I assume what you mean by that is like, this is like a three-way. If I'm like fucking them, so it's like a polyamorous. So it's a polyamorous relationship in the case of marrying them or fucking them. And then in the case of killing them, it's a double homicide. So this is an interesting spin on the classic game, fuck, marry, kill. Okay, I mean, let's start with Joe Biden and excuse me, not Joe. He's out. Rest in peace. He's been dead for a while. But fuck, marry, kill, Joe Biden's body double. I'm kidding. So let's see. Kamala Harris, Tim Walz. Fuck, marry, kill, Kamala and Tim. This is really hard, Gary. I mean, I don't want to fuck any of these dusty old politicians, man. You know what I mean? Okay, Kamala and Tim. I'm gonna say, oh God, dude, this is so hard because I feel like with Kamala and Tim, they just seem annoying and they seem like very like toxically positive, and that's not fun when you're fucking someone. Like no one likes an inauthentic sexual encounter. So, and there's no way in hell I'm marrying Kamala and Tim. I mean, they're, you know, insufferable people. They're all insufferable, but I think Tim and Kamala would probably be the most insufferable to actually spend time with. So, yeah, man, I'm going with kill. I'm going to kill Kamala and I'm going to kill Tim. This is all a joke for the NSA, in case you're listening. I'm going to kill them. Fuck. I mean, Jesus, man. Can I take that back? Because I realize all the other candidates are men, and I don't really want to have gay sex. Okay, I'm taking that back. I'm gonna fuck Kamala and Tim. I'll fuck Kamala and Tim. I guess since Kamala is like the only woman, I have to have sex with Kamala. And I guess I'd be giving like Tim like a hand job. So that's probably like, yeah, I would fuck Kamala and I'd be giving Tim a hand job. I would not be proud. But like, again, you put me in a tough spot here, Gary. But see, you can marry someone and not fuck them. So I would probably marry Trump and JD Vance. It'd be like a three-way. It'd be like a marriage, but it would be like a marriage on paper. Like I would do a paper marriage with Trump and JD Vance, like a three-way paper marriage where I just get a bunch of like cool business deals. Because people forget that JD Vance used to be a venture capitalist. So I would marry Trump and JD Vance just for the connections into the venture capital world. Like sounds pretty fucking good to me. And then I would kill RFK and whoever his vice president is. Does RFK even have a vice presidential pick? I don't know. I mean, we could look that up. I would kill RFK because he's too good for the world. RFK picks Nicole Shanahan as his running mate for the independent White House bid. I love how like no one even like talked about this. This was March 26, 2024. Literally no one even talked about this. But I would kill them both because I love them, and you have to kill the things you love. So that was a great question, Gary. That was very tough to answer, but I appreciate the question. That was very hard to answer. William has questions too. I'm going to blow through these because I have more news, but William, 10 questions from William, another $50 to William, dude. Thank you and I think this show is literally for like the two of you and Kareem, who answers questions sometimes. Shout out to Kareem. But again, you guys are my diehards. I love you. And I can't wait until you show up at my house someday and thrust a knife into my chest, because you love me so much. That's kind of what I don't want to manifest that, but I feel like that might happen. Okay. All right. That was crazy. That was a crazy thing to say. William's first question. What will be the worst buy one, get one free sale of all time? Maybe like a contract killing, like if you're buying like if you're like paying a killer to like put a hit out on someone, you have to put a hit out on another guy. That would probably be tough. I don't know, actually that sounds like the best. Like if you hire a hitman and then the hitman's like, hey, by the way, like we're doing a special, like you actually get another hit. like I'll do 2 hits. I'd be like, what? 2 hits? All right. My mom and my dad. I'm kidding. I love. They did a very good job with me. Can you tell my mom and dad did a very good job with me? I have a podcast. If I have a son and he ever started a podcast, I'd literally disown him. Like, this is so shameful. It is such a shameful thing to do. Start a podcast? I mean, this should be a crime. Like what I'm doing. Anyway, we'll move on. How do you think the candidates' use of AI is affecting the public's view on this election? Oh, I mean, damn, in very drastic ways, William. I mean, number one, they use AI on Joe Biden's whole face. Joe Biden is an AI. No, I mean, people were, I'm sure you saw the story where it was like there was like an AI crowd. Like they were like both candidates are like generating AI crowds to make themselves seem more popular than they really are. And I think there's accusations on both sides about the opposing candidates using AI to make the crowds look bigger. And you know, I like it. I think it's fun. I think it gets, if it gets people more involved and it gets people more engaged, that's a good thing. It's a good thing. Like, I want more AI, more lives. And the thing is, honestly, William, I don't think the AI use in the politics it's just more of the same, in my opinion, man. It's just more of the same. Because politicians have always lied. They've always found ways to drastically deceive the public. So, you know, it's like, it's kind of a nothing burger to me. Like, political campaigns are already so fundamentally engulfed in these propaganda tactics. Fundamentally, you want to hear a take that you're not gonna hear anywhere else, guys? This is why you listen to this show. You know who else? You know whose campaign is propaganda? RFK. People, and again, I'm saying this as an independent. We really, like, you know, this is a principle that I really truly have. Every politician, we have to remember this. Every piece, this podcast is propaganda. Every piece of media is propaganda. And the reason I'm saying this is because There's a very good book. It's called Propaganda by one of the fathers of modern advertising, Edward Bernays. He wrote a book called Propaganda. And at the beginning of the book, he describes that every piece of media is itself propaganda. It is an ad. This show is an ad for me. You're listening to an advert. You're listening. I really shouldn't be saying this, but maybe I'll say it. This show is an ad for you to like me and give me money someday, or watch ads eventually. Like, that's what the show is. This is literally a commercial. Hopefully you like it, right? But ultimately, like it really, this guy's book changed the way I look at everything, guys. Like, I really recommend you read it. Because if you think about it, when you watch TV, people think, oh, it's the content, it's the sport, it's the football game, and then the ad. Then we go back to the football game and then another ad. But if you think about it, it's all a commercial. The football game is a commercial for the very notion of football. Like, it's selling you the game of football, among other things, patriotism, machismo, these concepts. But it's fundamentally, the game itself is also propaganda. And so, going back to your question, William, I think that the politicians' usage of AI is just another step. It's just another tool in their toolbox to do what they've always done, which is to propagandize the audience. And again, but this is the most important part of the whole point, though. Not all propaganda is inherently bad. Like, I think that I like to think that my podcast is propaganda, but it's not bad propaganda. It only will become bad propaganda, once we all meet up at a Sean Show meetup and, do a mass suicide. Then people will realize, oh man, Sean Show was bad evil propaganda because it killed people. No, look, but everything a politician says is propaganda. It has a meaning, an intentional meaning. There's an intention behind everything. And so the AI is just going to allow them to enhance their propaganda. And as far as how it affects the public's view on the election, I really don't think it's going to change the public's view on the election that much. I think that people are so oblivious. I mean, dude, we see it with and again, I know I've been dunking on the left a lot, but that's just because it's fun. But the right is just as bad. I know I don't want to fixate too much on the left. Both sides are very fucked up in their own unique ways. But I focus on the left sometimes because I focus on it because it's sad that the youth, okay, I'm kind of all over the place right now. Let me focus up. Kamala, her campaign is extremely effective with young people, with Gen Z. And if you follow Kamala HQ on Instagram, or you see some of Kamala's Instagram reels, people are talking about how this is the most energized they've been about a political campaign in years, since the Obama era. I mean, people are really making a comparison between Kamala and Obama. And obviously the main difference is that Obama was black and Kamala is, of course, lying about. No, all right, I'm telling a joke. She's every race, but Kamala, it's working. Here's the thing: Trump pushes propaganda, and it doesn't really work with a lot of people. People are smart enough to realize that Trump is lying. But when it comes to Kamala, suddenly they're all retarded, and they look at what she's putting out and they can't admit to themselves that it's also lies. And that is really, and these are young, smart people that are internet savvy. They can't understand that the messaging behind what she's saying, she's a politician just like every other fucking politician is a politician. We should be just as angry at Bernie Sanders, man. Like, I really see no difference between Bernie and Trump and Kamala, RFK, even the independent candidates. They're in it for themselves. They're selling you a message. And when they get the power, they're in it for themselves. They're selling you a message, right? And when they get into power, they don't give a fuck about you. They want steak dinners, and they want to go to dinner with Benjamin Netanyahu, and they want to have adrenochrome injected into their bloodstream. And you should respect that. You should respect someone that has enough hustle to sell you a lie and then turn and betray you. I respect politicians because they betray us. You know how much courage it takes to betray millions of people? Think about how much discipline and I don't know, what's the word? The amount of courage and just raw sheer ambition that it takes to pound your fist on a podium for years and then get the power and betray everyone that you got to gain your trust, and know the entire time that that's what you were doing from the very beginning, creating a plan, executing on that plan, and doing it. I have a lot of respect. You got to respect it. William asks, question number 3, Ryzen or Intel? I'm a Ryzen guy, dude. Fuck Intel. Fuck anything Intel. I don't know if you guys are on like Wall Street Bets. It's a fun subreddit where people gamble on the stock market. This guy bought like $700,000 of Intel stock with his grandma's with inheritance that he got from his grandmother. And then Intel collapsed by like 50%. I'm like, that is so fucking cool. Like, that is so cool that you did that. And like that, I mean, that is really, it's, you know, seeing that kind of stuff makes me suicidal, bro. There was, if you're not following, there's a story. This guy like posted online. He's like, I just bought $700,000 of Intel stock with my inheritance that I got. I think there's a lot of good things that are coming up for Intel in the future. And then the stock literally gets cut in half. And seeing that and just like being like, man, like I have medical bills that I haven't paid. Seeing that guy just throw away money like that, it's a scary world we live in. It's a very scary world. But I'm going to go Ryzen, dude, because Intel is like, it's on its way out, man. I've never been a fan of Intel because the company has been at the same price for fucking 20 years. Fuck Intel. Number 4, we have JD Vance fornicating with couches, Walt guzzling horse semen. What do you think RFK's running mate will have done when they were younger? Well, that's actually a great question. So we just found out that RFK's running mate is a woman by the name of Nicole Shanahan. Well, let's follow the trend. JD Vance fucks couches. Waltz guzzles horse semen. Let me take a look at this woman. Nicole Shanahan as his running mate. She looks like, well, let's think about it. JD Vance fucks furniture. Waltz fucks animals. RFK's running mate, I think that she must fuck vegetables like a carrot. Like I feel like she shoves cucumbers up her pussy. Like maybe that's that's independent. I like that. Like I think that's what she does. Which honestly, if that was the case, if that came out about her, I'm voting for her. Because that's something that's like normal. Like comparatively to JD Vance and Tim Waltz, like that's normal. Like just fucking a vegetable. Like that to me feels like, you know, if anything, that gives me confidence that she can do a good job when she becomes vice president. because a lot of that job is just taking shit in the ass for the president. Number 5, what's my Myers-Briggs type? My Myers-Briggs type. I'm a Virgo. That's my Myers-Briggs type. No, I'm kidding. I'm pretty sure I'm oh yeah. I'm INTJ. Whatever the autism one is. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I'm INTJ. I'm introverted, intuitive, thinking, and January 6th. Number 6, who is the most influential person in your life leading to this point? Damn, dude. I mean, fuck, William. You're really hitting me with these like deep ass questions, dude. The most influential person in my life up until this point. I have to say Andrew Tate. I have to say Andrew Tate, dude. I have to thank Andrew Tate for putting me in the game. I have to thank Andrew Tate because he showed me like how to escape the matrix. He showed me that like the path to wealth was starting a digital sex trafficking business. You know, you guys might be wondering how I'm even able to afford a podcast, how I'm able to even live in New York. I have a digital sex trafficking business where I have, 18, 19, 20-month-year-old people. I'm counting. That was a joke. No, man. I don't know. For real, I don't know. I've had a lot of people influence me. I would probably say it's really tough to say, dude. I really don't know where I get my principles as a human being. I really don't know who, like, who I will say it is, dude? And this guy's not even really around on the internet anymore. It's the Amazing Atheist. You remember this is like a deep cut. There was a YouTuber in like the early 2000s and the mid 2000s called the Amazing Atheist. And I was like, I was like a Catholic at the time. I was growing up. I would like play Minecraft and listen to the Amazing Atheist. And like, he like woke me up to the realities of the world. Like he was like this fat redneck, like fat white redneck psycho who would yell about like God. And he was very widely hated. But I loved the Amazing Atheist. I was like, holy shit, this guy is blowing my mind. Like that was the first, and then that guy made me think, oh my God, if religion is a lie, if organized religion is a lie, what else is a lie? And that's when I started exploring homosexuality, and I realized that I was also but that's check him out, The Amazing Atheist. What's the next big investment opportunity? Guns and food. William, the next big investment, sell the US dollar, trade in your US dollars for guns and food. Number 8, when is Trump going to stop talking himself into more felonies? See, I don't know, William. I'm going to push back here. I don't think Trump talked himself into the initial felonies he got. I don't know. I don't necessarily know if he talked himself into the felonies that he has already. I could be wrong, but let's think about it. I mean, dude, it's like it's the law. The law doesn't apply to the powerful. You know what I mean? It's like, because if I remember correctly, Trump misrepresented his businesses to potential creditors that wanted to give him debt for the expansion of his businesses. And they went back and they found that they were like I think they were like class E felonies, which are like felonies that are barely felonies. Like it wasn't even a class A felony. But like it's, to go after, like, let's zoom out a little bit. I think there are very many rich people who did exactly what Trump did. And the only reason that they are not felons is because because they're not running for president. And I'm not trying to defend Trump. Like, I think he's retarded. But ultimately, I think that, like, a lot of rich people, basically everyone that has over $100 million is a felon. If you ever made a PowerPoint presentation that shows revenue going up 20% a year, you're guilty of the same felonies that Trump is guilty of. That's fraud. Saying that you're raising money for your business and saying that revenue will continue to go up, in my book, is fraud. You're defrauding people. You're defrauding the investors because it's a fucking lie. Projecting any financial figure into the future with confidence is fraud. What are your thoughts on Trump now traveling in Epstein's private jet? I think it's dope, dude. I think it's like, I think it's like, or is he like, I don't know, is he traveling in Epstein's jet now? Like that's actually crazy if he's traveling, like he bought the jet. I don't actually know this story. And let me look. Is Trump traveling in Epstein jet? Like, did he? Wait, is this I didn't even know this story. Why Trump flew to campaign events on Jeffrey Epstein's plane last weekend. That's fucking crazy, dude. I actually had no idea that Trump did that. Why the fuck would he do that? That's so crazy, dude. I feel like maybe he's going broke. Maybe he like, I have no idea, bro. This is a crazy story. Former President Donald Trump, thanks for sharing this, and his campaign broke one of the most obvious unwritten rules of electioneering. Never do anything to remind your voters of your previous, yet to be fully explained relationship with one of the world's most notorious child molesters. Nonetheless, the Trump campaign says it had a perfectly good reason to. The candidate used a plane previously owned by the late Jeffrey Epstein. I love that. MSNBC, they call him the late Jeffrey Epstein, to get very like he just died of suicide, like, not even talking about, not just glossing over the fact that he was murdered, to get various campaign stops, the Miami Herald reported. I mean, it's just comical at this. No, you know what? It's just good you know what my answer to your question, William? It's good marketing. Because at this point, Trump needs to be in the news as much as possible to remind people that he exists. Number 10, what's the best advice a mentor gave you in your career? My actual best advice I've ever gotten is never give up. No, I don't know, man. I don't want to say something cliche and hack. The best advice I've ever gotten, get on your knees and suck harder. You want a career? On your knees, suck harder. My best advice, and we're going over time. I have to wrap this up, but my real advice, dude, to anyone that wants to do anything, don't take people's advice. And I know that's paradoxical, but the only piece of actual advice I would give people is that you should never take advice from people. People are so biased, and everyone has different situations in their life. Fuck everyone. Literally fuck everyone else and do your own thing. People, when they give you advice, they don't actually give a fuck about you, even if it's your close friends and family, especially your close friends and family. They don't give a fuck about you. They want you, most of the time, they either want to drag you down, or even if they're mean well on the surface, subconsciously, they want to drag you down. They don't want you to invalidate their philosophies about life. So fuck everyone else and do your own thing. And then, William, you have another update from your life. A little update on the neighbor situation. I didn't end up killing him. That's too bad, William. You should have followed my advice. But we lucked out on his fiance/wife dying, and now he's had to move out of his house. So I guess we'll chalk that up as a win without having to fuck her. William, it's a little bit crazy. I guess I'm happy that your neighbor's wife died, so your problem got solved. That's crazy, bro. But like Gary said, I respect. See, you thought outside of the box, and I think you poisoned the wife personally, William. So I'm a little scared of you at this point, and I really would be worried that you're going to poison me next. But I'm glad your problem got solved. Thanks for all the questions. We're bumping up on the time, guys, so I do have to go. But thank you so much for listening to Sean's show. Lots to cover. I hope you have a good week, guys. I'm going to close it out. If you want to ask a question in the Facebook group, go to facebook.com/group/Sean Show. All the links are in the descriptions wherever you listen to the show. If there's one thing you do, give the show a review on Spotify. It helps the show get recommended to more people on one of the retarded algorithms. You know how all these retarded algorithms work. We're at the whims of Spotify and these other shadow shareholders in our society. But we can break through if you just review the show on Spotify, like the video on YouTube, subscribe, all that bullshit. I'm on the road. If you like stand-up comedy, I do that too. I'm headlining. I have some dates coming up that I'm very excited for. I'm headlining the Attic Comedy Club in Columbus, Ohio, one of my favorite cities, Friday, October 18th. I'm headlining Don't Tell Nashville, which is a great show, October 26th, Nashville, Tennessee. Links in my website. Friday, January 24th, 2025, Tampa, Florida. Please come to that one. So I'm going to be in check this out. Columbus, Nashville, Tampa, San Diego, January 28th. And more dates are being added. I'm coming to Dallas pretty soon. That link will be up, guys. So I'd love for you to come check out a show. If you want to come to the show and you listen to the podcast, DM me on Instagram. I'll get you free tickets, because if you're still listening to the show at this point, you love me. So, because I mean, I'll honestly, guys, I can't even listen to the show up to this point. So if you're still listening, you really are a fan. So that's it, guys. I love you. Have a great week. Remember, RFK's vice presidential pick fucks cucumbers, and don't get hit by a Waymo car, and if you do, let me know. We'll sue them together. Bye.